Hello, America. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to my review of Married at First Sight, Season 12, Episode 8 and 9. So, my lace is not laid down. My hair is, whatever. But we still here. We're going to go through this rather quickly because I am done with this show as well. I'm done with Paige and Chris. I'm just done with it all, okay? Claire and Ryan. Claire says that they are getting along, but they're different people, so she'd like for them to get to know their habits, their hobbies better. So, she takes him crafting. She asks him where will her craft stuff go. He says in the garage. This makes her feel apprehensive because it's like, I'm gonna be moving into your house, but am I just moving into your house or are we building a life together? She asks him what he wants from love. He doesn't really have any answers. He asks her what does she need to fall in love. She says that she needs to feel heard. She needs to feel like you've heard that she's had a bad... She needs to feel like that you've heard that she's had a bad day and that she wants some roses and you want to give her the roses, stuff like that. He says that patience... I wasn't really listening. Patience helps him fall in love, and Claire feels like they are on his timeline. And that's frustrating. Then they go to a donut place, and as they're eating donuts, he asks, does she have an internal drive? And she says no, and he says, well, my internal drive is about this and that. And she's like, damn, I just came to eat donuts. I wasn't really here to talk about, like, my motivation and how I get by in life. And, I mean, look, I ain't really got nothing to say. I don't know. So in the next episode, they answer questions about intimacy, and he says the lack of trust would make him not want to be intimate. She asks his favorite sexual position, and he says the normal one. And it was so weird to me because it was like, bro, just say a sexual position. No one's asking you to describe what you do in the bedroom. It's not that big of a deal. So then... Oh, and also she talks about her last relationship and how they didn't have a lot of sex and she was not feeling wanted. And so she's feeling like this relationship is moving in the same direction as the other relationship. So Dr. Viviana comes over there, and Dr. Viviana is like, okay, I done seen that y'all ain't been having sex, whatever. Claire, let me talk to you for a second. You think he a virgin? And Claire says no. But because Ryan starts talking about this sacred bond that he wants to have when he has sex. And sex is a very sacred thing to do. And you can't just, sex and it not have emotion to it. And Claire is like, sometimes I just have sex and it's just sex. And it's always been just sex and it's never been anything other than that. And so Dr. Viviana is like, can you make a commitment or can you make a promise that maybe one day you'll see sex as something more than what it is? Or I'm sorry, as something more than what you think it is. And she's like, I don't think so. Do y'all think that Ryan is a virgin? I'm not laughing. I want to know because I don't know that man, okay? But let me see. I think that it was weird that he didn't just say, I don't want to talk about this, or just say the position. I think that, I don't know. I ain't gonna say what I was about to say. Anyway, she says that it would make her sad if that's what he needed and if he wanted to make a sacred connection and she was unable to make a sacred connection. Brianna and Vincent. Mostly everything was good about them. I'm not really gonna go through like the whole thing like I just did with Claire and Ryan. because mostly everything was good about them. They both said that they love each other. Then they go salsa dancing because he had bought her a bike when she said at their reception that she wanted a bike. So she was like, let's go salsa dancing, because you know that would be something that they would be able to learn together. Vincent then got upset and got uncomfortable, and then Dr. Viviana came over, and Dr. Viviana was like, why was you getting uncomfortable at the salsa? And then Dr. Viviana was like, okay, so you feel like you need to impress your wife all the time, and like when you don't impress your wife and you, like, life gets in the way, then you get upset. And he's like, yeah. And Brianna is like, okay, be who you, just be yourself. And now they're happy, but like, I don't know. And he said his shirt might have been a little bit too tight, and he felt uncomfortable about that as well. And then I was like, okay, well, I understand, because there is nothing worse than having on some tight or something that you feel is tight, and you doing something and you keep having to pull at stuff and we not even gonna go through that. Anyway, why did he make her eat cheese with whipped cream on it? Do you know I covered up the screen because I can't. No, we're not gonna eat. No. No. Anyway, moving on. Haley and Jacob, oh my gosh, it was so much. I can't even. Oh my gosh, I have been writing so much. Anyway, Haley was asked by Jacob if she found him attractive. She said, yeah, which is a no. She said that when she saw him, she didn't think that he was unattractive, but she didn't think that he was attractive. Sorry if I'm so low on the ground. I'm just sitting here. Sorry. I'm not gonna get up because I kind of feel kind of comfortable right now. She didn't think that he was attractive, nor did she feel that he was unattractive. But then things transpired, and you know, on the honeymoon with him asking, do you have a girl or a boyfriend? And now she don't think that he's attractive. Her friend is like, are you able to think that he's gonna be attractive? And she's like, she's willing to try. Then she brings him back some clothes, and for some reason I thought that the clothes, maybe she just brought him back some shirts, because those pants, those jeans that he had on looked horrible. And I really thought that he was going to wear the clothes and look better than he did. And it was shocking to me when he put on the clothes, and I said, oh, well, this don't look different from what he already wears. So then Jacob ruins the moment by saying, oh, well, you bought me these clothes, but you still don't like me. You still think I'm unattractive. So, like, we still got to talk about that. Why you think I'm so unattractive? And I was waiting up for you last night, but you went to go stay over at Paige's house. Which is kind of weird to me. It's kind of weird to me. I will say that. Why, you know, even though she said that they did have an argument and everything. But it's kind of weird to me that she wanted to go stay over at Paige's house. And it was also kind of weird to me. I'm sorry. It was also kind of weird to me that look, this is me being a conspiracy theorist. It was also kind of weird to me that Paige and Haley did that. Hey, I'm sitting here with Paige. I'm sitting here with Haley. We're just talking. Yeah. Because it was like that was the evidence. Right? So when she go out tonight, or that night, and go to the club, but I guess it was Coronas. I guess they wouldn't be going out to the club because it's Corona. But it's just weird to me because why is she trying to spend the night away from her husband when they had an argument when they don't even sleep in the same room? Anyway, moving on. Then she said, well, you should have told me that you wanted me to stay. And he's like, no, you would have just did this and did that. And it's like, okay, bro, you don't know what she would have done. Chill out. So she's getting upset that he's acting like this. And he says that she is not ready for, you know, this marriage or whatever. And she says it's hard for her. And then they play the, you know, like, what makes you want to say you love one another game, and they can't throw around love. And Jacob says he falls in love with people because of their personality and not their actions, because he's not an action guy. And then she talks about her past relationship. But she talks about her past relationship because it's so weird to me. Because when you think about it, she talks about her past relationship. And she says that her past relationship was 7 years ago. She's 28 years old. So her past relationship was 7 years ago. She was 21. And then she said that they dated on and off for 5 years. So if you do the math. Now, I'm not a mathematician. I don't have my math degree. But if you do the math, 21 minus 5 is 16. So her first serious relationship was when she was 16 to 21, and then she hasn't had a serious relationship since then. And then she was she was greenlit to be on Married at First Sight. That isn't making sense. No, she shouldn't be on Married at First Sight because she hasn't. No. So she's like, you know, well, since I was so young, I don't even know if I was in love. And Jacob says, no, you had to be in love because you have so many walls up. So I'm going to stop putting walls up. Or I'm going to stop trying to knock your walls down. But then in the next scene, he says, I'm throwing a pool party in hopes that this will help Haley let her walls down. But you just said that she would have to be the one to pull her guard down, not you. So they have the pool party. At first, I thought it was just going to be Virginia and Eric and her and him. Because I was like, this is not a pool party. No one even got in the pool. But anyway, everybody comes except for Vincent and Chris. I don't know why Paige was there. Haley and Virginia talk about stuff. She tells her that she's not attracted to him, or that she's not as attracted as she could be to Jacob. And also everything is so drawn out and it's always an issue, and she's always tired of having to have an argument with him, and so that takes away some of the attraction that she could have for him. So Paige is there, and Paige is like, I met with Paige was talking about them damn dogs, and she was like, it's creeping me out. And I'm like, man, you've never seen... First of all, if you've never even seen a corgi, why are you acting like that toward the dog? She was like, look at them. Anyway, she talks to all of the ladies. Virginia asked a very good question because she said that Chris wanted to meet her. Virginia says, yo, okay, forget, you know, the child, the ex, forget everything, all of the external situations. Do you like him? Do you see yourself reestablishing a connection that you had with him that was strong? Did you have a strong connection with this man and actually like him and y'all connected? And she said, whatever God is leading me to do. And I said, you know what? Okay. Anyway, so, yeah. Now Haley and Jacob then went out to eat, and now they done had a good positive outlook on their relationship. Dr. Viviana comes over, and Haley says that she feels bad because she connects with people really easily, but she does not connect with him. And she says how she was middle of the road attraction and she felt like she was doing a lot of the work. And then they showed a flashback of her saying, "You gonna make me drink alone?" And I said, "Is that her doing all the work and buying him clothes? Like, is that she?" Okay, I see that. I wouldn't say that he's done a lot of stuff, but she really bought him clothes and okay. Anyway, so Dr. Viviana asks if they want to stay married, and they say yes. Dr. Viviana then says that they should kiss every morning and every night. And since they weren't sleeping in the same bed, she wants them to sleep in the same bed. They sleep in the same bed, whatever. So, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Dr. Viviana comes back. She's like, "Hey, I seen your questionnaire. I found it. And you say that you always run guys off. So maybe this is what you're doing. So you need to, like, try to be better and blah, blah, blah." But it's not going to work because she don't like him. Okay? I wanted to let you all know that she doesn't like him. Do I have an inside scoop? No. I'm just watching the show like you. But she don't like him. Anyway, moving on. Eric and Virginia, what do you want me to say? Virginia was talking very clear-headed. Why is it over so much? Virginia was talking very clear-headed this episode. That's number one. She was talking about how they don't like to talk about real topics. And so, you know, they talk about this little stuff. And she was also talking about how she was a little bit shocked with how little Eric communicated with her while he was on a work trip, considering how he was so adamant about her communicating and being effective in communication and, you know, not just flaking him off because he's married. So they talk about what love is. He says it's one of the best feelings. He says he hasn't been in love since his marriage. And he was comparing every relationship he had to the one that he had with his wife. And so I'm starting to get a little bit confused because it's like, what was the level of love in the relationship that you had? Because at first it was like, it wasn't even a real marriage. Then it was like, I got divorced 3 years ago. Then it was like, I compared what I had with this lady to every other date I've been on since. And it's like, so what is the truth? Anyway, whatever. I do care. I do care. She talks about how, you know, she has a fear of abandonment, and I really don't understand why they're putting people who have fear of abandonment in relationships, marriages. Then he didn't cook for her, and he looked so weird to me when she was just talking. And how she felt like she has to compete with his ex-wife. And he says that he hasn't found, you know, the love yet. But he wasn't trying to compare anybody. He goes to play her the song. It was an okay song, okay? But I can't remember it because it had no lyrics. And I'm thankful for that. And then he says that he loves her. And she says that she loves him. And they're in love, and that's beautiful, and that's wonderful. And Virginia recognizes that they need to have difficult conversations without being emotional. And so she brings up texting her guy friends, and he says, "You can only text the guy friends that I know." That's what he says without saying it. And she's like, "Well, you know, I have more guy friends." And she gives her password away on national television. Then he says, "You can't be friends with exes on social media." She says, "What if I like, you know, a picture from my ex?" Well, he says, "You shouldn't be." Then Dr. Viviana comes over and she talks about how they have different political views. And he's like, "That's her problem, not mine." And then he's like, "If she doesn't want to have kids, I'm done. I'm not waiting 10 years to have kids." And it's like, whew, yikes. Yikes. Then he talks about, after Dr. Viviana leaves, he talks about being cheated on and how that's a big fear. And she talks about why she says she didn't want to have children, or she was apprehensive because of the stuff that she's seen in her childhood. And, you know, they do that little 5-minute timer thing where they just listen to one another, and it makes them feel more vulnerable to one another. And, you know, she feels as though he won't always be as into her as he is now, and he doesn't like that she says that, and then stuff happened, but I cannot remember because I did not write it down. And I am so sorry if you have come to me for the full Married at First Sight recap, because that's what it is called, and I have dropped the ball. You know who else has dropped the ball? Lifetime has dropped the ball. Sharp Productions. Is it Sharp? Whatever the fuck it's called. The producers of Married at First Sight. You've dropped the ball, because I'm sick of Paige and Chris. I'm sick. I'm tired. This won't be long. Okay. She went to... girl, like, God ordained this union. Girl! You didn't even know this man. Like, chill out. You keep talking about God ordained this union. Like, it's giving me just too much. It's giving me way too much. So, you know, he wanted to see her. He goes to see her. She's like, what? He's like, oh, I ain't got nothing new to say. And then he's like, I'm scared that I might love you. I might actually get to know you and like the type of person you with. I might do that. And so now they like, hi, it's nice to meet you. So they have re-met one another. Great, amazing, beautiful. But, oh. So now they love each other. They're friends. Then Dr. Viviana comes over. She hadn't heard from Chris since they had their reset. He comes in first and he said, yeah, what's up, yo? And I said, yo. And he has on the ugly outfit and them tight pants as usual. And he sits down, and then Dr. Viviana comes in, and he says that, you know, he sometimes feels like the relationship is forced when, or he feels like it is forced when Paige says that she wants, you know, maybe a phone call a day or a text. And he's like, no, I'd just rather see her in person and do this and do that. And then she's like, so what are we really doing here? And hold on, because I know that there are other things that I'm missing. I never even talked about his pastor meeting with her to say how disappointed he was in Chris. And then Chris brought that up when they sat down and said, you talked to my pastor, because of that, I'm done with my pastor for the rest of my life. I have nothing more to say to him. So he's done with his pastor. His pastor did say that when he met him 6 years ago, he was engaged as well. Dr. Viviana says, okay, so what are you guys going to do? And he says that he doesn't know. I'm looking over to the side at my notes. I'm sorry. You know, he says that he doesn't feel like his heart is in it. She feels like she's in grade school. She wants to know what he is comfortable with, and he says he's comfortable hanging out. And then they do some activity to, you know, make sure they make time for one another. And then he says that they need to include God in more stuff. Then he show over her house with some chicken, some fried chicken, and they eating. And then he like, let's do Bible study. And she like, what did you prepare? And he's like, I didn't prepare anything. But the weirdest thing was, after she said grace, he didn't say amen. And that made me think that he's scamming as a Christian. Then he told her that he bought Mercedes a new Mercedes. because, you know, she about to have a king or a queen and they need to be in style. That's not what he said, but basically, who knows what he said, because she's like, I just don't understand it. We were ordained before God. Okay, we get it. I'm done. I'm kind of like done with this season. I'm kind of done with these people. I'm kind of done with 90 Day Fiancé and Married at First Sight, because it's not entertaining. Okay, it's not at all entertaining. I understand that some episodes have lulls. This is too much for me. Okay, so I'm done. If y'all like this review, you can like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, or visit my website. My name is Brielle. I make beats. I sing songs. If you like what you see, come on along. Bye.